I'm Catherine Davis. I'm a pediatric speech-language pathologist. Today we're going to talk about why and how you can use hands-on activities at home with your child to address and expand their speech-language and even fluency skills. When I say hands-on activities, I'm going to be talking about like crafts, cooking, baking, things that require some communication, some following directions, some problem-solving skills, those types of activities. So I will also preface by saying when you pick your activities, it doesn't have to be something we have to go out to the store and buy all of these materials or ingredients. Even in my own therapy, I just like to use what I already have. So maybe we're going to make Play-Doh and we just use flour, salt, and water, I think are the ingredients. So things that you already have at home, but hopefully it will spark some ideas, get you looking on Pinterest to find some things that you can make with your child or children at home. In order to help you select your activity, you can go onto Pinterest, and I like to make sure I put for kids at the end of my search phrase, or if your child is a toddler, you can type for toddlers, that's fine. You can type in science experiments for kids, baking for kids, crafts for kids, and it should come up with tons of search results, so you can find something to make based on what you have, like I said before, at home. So this is a bouncy ball activity that I found online, and what I really like to look for is things that have picture support. So of course there's the written text there, but the picture supports are not only going to be good for the kiddos who can't yet read, but also for the ones who have a hard time with comprehension of the following directions. So we have it in a measuring spoon, pouring it into the bowl of that. This is from a website that I found from Pinterest. And then here's one that I made. This is a paper plate Santa craft. And then one more, again, things that we already likely have at home: flour, salt, and warm water to make this fossil activity. Not only do the picture supports help with that comprehension, and for the kiddos who can't quite read those instructions, that's okay. It also helps when we're done with the activity, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. They can retell you what we did in order to make this craft, so we can target some language skills. When you go to set up the activity, one thing I want to encourage you to do is put all the materials in a bucket or a box where all of the items are going to be in your possession. So this requires the child to make requests for the items that they need to make the activity. It also can help with some predicting. The pictures are going to be there in front of them, so you're kind of giving them the answer, but still you can ask them, okay, what are we going to do next? And then they can think about what we're going to do and even what we need. I also like to address some problem solving skills too. So if we're making a craft, I'll give them the piece of paper. They know that they need to cut it, but they can't quite figure out what's missing. So I'll say, uh-oh, we need to cut it. What do we need? If they can't quite figure it out, I'll hold up the scissors and say, what do you need? And they can tell me that they need the scissors and problem solve that issue right there. Now that you've selected and set up your activity, let's talk about how to address their speech, language, and fluency skills while you're working on that craft or activity. Say that your child is working on their articulation or speech sounds. If they can read, the first thing you can do is take your instructions page and highlight the words with their sound. So say they're working on the R sound, and this is how to make bouncy balls. We can highlight warm and water, borax, cornstarch, and find all the words with their R sound on that instructions page. If they're not reading just yet, that's okay too. As those opportunities arise and we're talking about how we're making this activity, we're going to put in the borax. What are we going to put in? And they can use those opportunities to address their speech sounds. I'll also link the articulation strategies video, so if they can't quite say their sounds yet, or you just want to get more opportunities to model those sounds, you can go watch that video and see how to bring that up more often when you're doing that activity. When it comes to language, there are a ton of things that you can address. So I'll pull this fossil salt dough activity as an example. So we can target prepositions. We're going to pour it in the bowl. We are going to take it out of the bowl. We'll put it on a plate, push it into the dough. So there's some prepositions there. We can use verbs, future tense. What will we do next? We will stir. What are you doing? I am stirring. What did we do? I stirred, past tense. So we can work on verbs there. We can also work on pronouns like he, she, and we. Say there's a sibling participating. You can ask, what is Johnny doing? And your child can say, he is stirring, he is patting. They can address those pronouns, or same thing with a girl. Whose turn is it? It's her turn. So we can address some pronouns that way. That rolls right into some WH questions. Whose turn is it? What are you doing? Where do we need to put it? In the bowl. Vocabulary synonyms, so we can use stirring, mixing, combining. You can model all those different ways. We can say pretty much the same thing. Sequential vocabulary, first, next, then, after that. Sizes, so what size Play-Doh ball do you want? You want a big ball or a little ball? Shapes, you can even shape it. You can address lots of different vocabulary while you're making any activity. Another area of language that you are addressing while you're doing these activities is social skills. So turn taking, we have one bowl that we're going to be mixing in, so the child needs to wait their turn and be patient while their sibling or while you're mixing. So turn taking. Maybe we only have one pair of scissors. We have to be patient for that. Even topic maintenance. So say we're making this Santa activity, and we can talk about the craft, we can talk about Santa, we can even talk about the holiday if you want to go there, but we're not going to talk about this random story about what my dog did last weekend. That's not related to what we're talking about. So those are a few ways you can address social skills while doing your activity. The last thing I want to touch on is stuttering or cluttering. If your child does currently get speech therapy and they know their strategies that they're supposed to use, you can ask those WH questions. What do we need to do? What are we about to do? What did we do? To get them to use their strategies and produce fluent speech. Or you as the parent can model for them that good fluent speech and say it back to them with fluent speech. And I'll link a video that I made for parents, things that you can do to encourage fluent speech for your child. Now you're done with your craft or your baking activity, whatever you decided to do. So what you can do now is take those pictures from the internet that you printed off and cut them up and mix them up, then have the child put them in sequential order so they can tell you what we did in order to make that thing. And also encourage them to use those sequential vocabulary words: first, next, then, after that, finally, so they can really organize their ideas in their mind, and also they can go tell someone later, first we did this, next we did this, because a lot of kiddos will say, and then we did this, and then we did that, so it's not super organized, and then we tend to get things out of order, so it just helps get those things organized in their mind and when they're retelling it back to you. If your child is working on some writing skills, they can write single words or they can write sentences. First, we measured out our ingredients. Next, we put them in a bowl. They can address writing skills too. So I hope that inspires you to get making some things at home. Use Pinterest, use the things that you have, and address, like we said, the whole point of this is to address their speech language fluency skills in those fun activities, and you guys are working together at home. If you have any questions, as always, please feel free to ask, and I'll put a link to Pinterest so you can just click on it and go right there and find some fun stuff to do online. Thanks so much.